Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're listening this, my name is Shivangi Valke, and I'm the host of the Unstoppable Me podcast and LinkedIn Live session. I am so excited today to host Mariam Mapata. I hope I said that properly. And Mariam is a sports activist. She's quite different than the typical profile we are used to visit on this particular show, but she is a sports memoir author. She wrote a very interesting book called Boots Don't Lie. I love the name, Mariam.
Thank
You're a
you.
sports columnist and the founder of Africa Sports Foundation Center in Uganda. Mariam has 15 years of experience in sports for development initiatives within East Africa. And with a master's and a doctorate in sports management, she really believes that sports education can bridge the gap between passion and knowledge. I really love that, Mariam. And I love that your vision is to set up the first sports university in East Africa. And I'd love to know, what you're doing in that direction.
Mm.
Very, very warm welcome to you, Mariam.
Thank you very much. I'm honored and privileged to be here. Very excited, actually, very excited. Thank you.
I'm very excited to have you here.
Yes,
Can
yes.
you walk us a little bit, Mariam, through your life trajectory? I'm interested both in the personal and professional aspects.
Thank you very much. I got married at 21, actually, and right now I have 4 kids with my husband. My eldest is 23. He just finished university. He was the young man that brought me into the world of sports, and it's amazing to see him grown up all now. And I remember in 2007 when he was just a little boy, about 6 years, kicking the ball and breaking my neighbor's windscreen, Mercedes Benz, and we had to pay for that. And then after that, that's how I got into the world of sports, because I thought to myself, he's going to break another window again, he's going to break other cars and blah blah, all these things. So I was worried. So I set out to look for a football field, a football club for him to play, and I couldn't find one. And we had just moved to Mombasa, and it was a new place for us because we originally come from Uganda. And there I had been a housewife for 7 years, feeling lost. So even finding a space for him was a bit challenging. So when we couldn't find one, I thought to myself, since I have a lot of time on my hands, let me create a space for him and other children to be able to play. And that's how I moved from being a housewife then into the world of football. And then, of course, many years later, I, kept running the program, having, tournaments, mentorship programs. And, with time, I realized I need to go back to school. So then I enrolled for a master's in sports management with, I thought I want to do it with the best university. So I went to Real Madrid Graduate School. And for a year, I was, in there reading and getting all this knowledge and excited. And then from there, I came into a space where I realized that what Africa needs actually is sports education, because there's so much talent, so much passion, but where do we put all this passion and talent? Not everyone is able to get to the field and play professional football, you know? And even for the other sports, it's the same. So if we are able to create a space where young people can get accessible and affordable sports education, then these same people will change the industry and create opportunities. So then I started the Africa Sports Foundation Center with a big dream to start the first East African university, if not Africa, the first sports university. So we bought land. Right now we are fundraising to put up our first lecture room, and it's such a huge dream, but exciting as well. And of course, then I wrote my Boots Don't Lie memoir, and it's just all been amazing and unstoppable, as you say, but of course filled with ups and downs. So yeah, that's the space I am in now, and I'm grateful that I've been able to experience it alongside my children, because they're all involved in sports. They love sports. My husband also loves sports. And we are looking forward, me and him, to actually retiring into the university and being able to give back to society and leave a legacy in terms of sports. So that's roughly my life.
That is a very, very inspiring story.
Yeah, yeah.
Africa as a continent, and you are,
Yes.
doing your bit to change that.
Mm,
I wondered,
mm.
are there any differences in which you see sports being embraced by women or girls as
Mm,
compared to boys or men? Do you
mm,
see differences in the way, both the society actually,
mm,
leads some kind of messaging towards girls? But
mm.
what's your experience as you work with your academy?
I think that it's sports and women it's been you cannot say it's a new thing. Yeah, it's been around for quite some time. In fact, I remember reading that the first uh, fun full best match that had the hugest fan base was actually a match for women when football had just started out. And
Mhm.
when the men realized how serious it was, they banned women football. And so it threw us very many years back. By the time we were catching up, men's football was all over. And there are still those sentiments, because when I began the football academy, many people were questioning my authority, my background. I was not coming from a footballing family, as I didn't even have any football skills. I didn't have any passion whatsoever. So, and they looked at me as this foreign woman who is Muslim. What is she doing in this space? And I think that even as many steps are being taken, there's still that question that women are being made to feel like they don't belong in the sport. But again, there's so much that has happened. Women have gone back to school and they're taking up these spaces, and they're changing the narrative. But again, still, it's not enough, because there are so many women who are not paid on equal. They are not receiving equal pay. Even the women who are playing professional sports, the men are still getting more pay, and the women are still lagging behind. And the always the excuse is that women sports does not bring in the funds, does not bring in the money. But I always say that, look here, if we have decided to support women in sports, then it should be that we should set aside money enough to kick off the programs for women and then attract the funds. But because we cannot demand that the funds come first and then we support the sport, it should be, women should be supported so that they can be able to attract the funds, not the other way around, because already there's a bias, for women. But again, I can tell you for free that we are not going to sit down and let this be. We are taking on spaces. We are creating the change ourselves. We are advocating for equal rights. We are making huge steps. And I think that if we can have more role models within whatever industry for women, then I think also it will take us a long way into, changing the narrative. And then also to just say that women and men are not competitors. We are not competing against each other. We should just be complementing each other, because we have different strengths, we have different abilities. There are some things that a man can do that I can never do, really, and vice versa. So if we are able to complement each other, I think then we can grow together. And that's what they call equal opportunities according to your strength, and equal opportunities according to what you're doing, and being able to, because when you look at football for women and men, it's different. That's why they are competing in different levels. You see, women will not play in the World Cup, or for men. So that tells you that we are different. We have different strengths, and therefore we need to be supported differently also, because you
Sure.
cannot, yes, differently in terms of, yes, equal opportunities, but the strategies that they use for men cannot be the same for women. Yeah, they should be adding more money into women's sports, because women are already vulnerable and we are already so behind. That means we need more money, not the other way around, not that men need more money. If you get what I'm saying, yes.
I hope the right people are listening to that message, Mariam.
I know, I hope so too.
I also do. Coming back to your life, right? I'm really keen around what makes you unstoppable. So, what was the most challenging phase, for you?
Mm,
I'm sure that it sounds all very good that you wrote this book and you're doing this academy, etc.
yes,
What was for you that phase where you thought, wow, this is really challenging? And I also
yes.
have to say that when it's super challenging, you learn the most, right? Can you
Oh,
share with us
absolutely.
about that
Absolutely. So there was this one time that it was a game changer for me because for a while I was holding sports events and hosting these awards for young people. So there's this one time in 2014, I partnered with a certain group of people who, whose agenda was to bring in musicians and make money, and they came to me and said, Mariam, let's partner. You have this platform for young people, you're giving them awards. How about we add an element of music and we make money, you also make money. So I was like, that's a good idea, because already I was being challenged. I was challenged financially, running the community program. It was a bit of a challenge. So I was excited and I all went in and they were like, okay, we're going to get sponsorship for media sponsorship and you bring in the capital to bring the musicians. And in my mind, I was so naive. I was like, that's so simple, okay, I'll borrow money somewhere from somewhere and then we pay these musicians, you bring in the media coverage and all that, and we make sales. So I did that. And on that particular day, because somehow we didn't have enough financial muscle, we didn't have tents for the event. So we said, okay, look here, let's skip the tents. We'll just have an outdoor activity, have the awards. The kids have played their tournaments, they come with their parents, then we sell tickets for the music, blah, blah, blah. So unfortunately, it rained. Yeah, it rained from 12 up to 12 p.m. up to 12 midnight. And we had suppliers who had brought in tents, chairs, the food and everything, and the rain kept on and off. The kids came, parents came, but everyone eventually scampered and left, and we didn't make enough sales to cover the event. So eventually, when they were looking at who has to pay what, I was left with a debt because I had to pay the loan that I had received.
Yeah.
And I didn't have money. So I was so broke. I've never been broke in my life. I think I just declared myself bankrupt that time. It was madness. And everyone was calling me, oh, Mariam, we want our money. You didn't pay money for this. You didn't pay money for this. I'm like, oh my God. I was so stressful. I kept to the house for weeks because I was like, what next? But I can tell you for free that when all the storm and dust had settled, it was one of the most, it's one of the moments that I can never take back because I learned so much. I learned to stick to my core values, to stick to my agenda, to stick to what really matters in what I'm doing. And it was not so much about making money. We all want to make money, but you have to stick to your values. And for me, it was a changing moment. In fact, so many people thought I'd actually close the program, but I came back stronger and I kept on going. And now look at me here. I'm here now dreaming of building a sports university. And whereas if I had closed and not learned that lesson, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I can just say that, of course, challenging times are very challenging. If you don't have a support system, could also break you down. So it's
Yeah.
important that when you have your most challenging moments, you have support system. People who will understand what you're going through, people who will encourage you, people who will pat you on the back. It's not easy to just say, yes, stand up and move again. But if you have a
This
support system,
support
it
system
makes
is
it easier.
very important. Do you
Yes.
have any influential mentors in your life? Have they impacted you in some way?
I believe that I can just, and I'm not saying it for the sake of saying it. My husband, because he has an accounting background, and he has all this experience in terms of managing structures. He's been one of my biggest mentors because there are times when I don't have I have this idea, but I don't know how to, be able to go about it. And there's sometimes I'll sit down with him and he takes me through what I need to do. So for me, he has been my biggest mentor. And I think that it's so important to have a mentor, even close by, because there will be times when you have, a mid idea and you're crazy about it in the morning and you need a whole hour of someone taking you through it. So for me, my husband has been my biggest mentor and supporter for that matter. But also being able to find people who are within the same industry has been a big plus for me. I had mentors. I have a mentor who's called Edgar Watson. He's a CEO of Football Federation in Uganda. And I'm always, throwing and bouncing ideas to him, and he says, no, Mariam, I think that might not be right. How about you think about it this way? So for me, I think being able to embrace people who are like-minded has also been very impactful in the things that I do, and it has helped me avoid certain mistakes, of course, and even think big and grow big, and yeah, so mentorship is key in anyone in anyone's life, especially if you're pursuing certain things.
Sure, sure. So, what are your hopes and dreams for the next phase of your life, Miriam? Where are you going?
Oh, I have so many dreams. I'm such a big dreamer. I'm such a big dreamer. Sometimes I have to stop myself because I love dreaming, because dreaming is what drives me. And for example, I started dreaming about writing when I was 13. And to think that after all those years, I just published a book, so many years down the lane. So I believe that dreams really fuel my life. Right now, I'm dreaming about having this university built, and employing so many young people, changing the industry, and making it stand out, and change the industry, because definitely I don't want to be remembered as just a woman who started a football club. I want to be remembered as the woman who changed this industry in terms of, management, in terms of just even changing the industry for Africa, because it's everyone dreams about Europe, you know. I want us to be able to dream about Africa when we talk about sports. So that's my dream. And I also, of course, dream about writing my second book. I dream about becoming a bestseller. So yeah, those are my dreams, and they keep me going and excited every day.
That's amazing. What is your second book going to be about?
I think I want to write a handbook for women in sports, a book where a woman could, be going through an issue in sports and be able to read the book and get an answer, sort of like a reference book for women in sports. So I'm compiling a lot of data, and I hope that in the next 2 years I could be finished with it. I mean,
Amazing.
and you never know. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I want to do right now in
That is
terms of
amazing.
writing.
Well, I
Yes.
wish you really, really all the best with that. One
Yeah.
question
Thank
I
you.
wanted to ask you, and you gave a very interesting example of
Yes.
really feeling as if, things
Yes.
are like things couldn't get worse, giving that
Yes.
example that you give. And
Yes.
I know that today, as we speak, there will be some people listening to us, some women listening to us
Yes.
potentially, who are going through that at the moment,
Yes.
where they do
Yes.
not actually see so much light at the end of the tunnel. So, what
Yes.
advice would you give them? What actually helped you to come out of that phase where everything seems, so.
I think that one thing that I can tell women who are going through a phase where they're stuck and they're feeling so challenged, I think that one thing that we can remember is that just like good times, even bad times come to an end, Don't be stuck and worried that, oh, I'm going to be in this moment forever. No, the bad phase will also pass. That's one thing that I know for sure. And even the good and exciting times end, and you move on to something else. I wrote my book, I was very excited, and I thought I'd live in that excitement forever. But now it's over. I'm now looking for other projects. So even bad times and moments when you're stuck, they eventually come to an end, and then you move on to the next. And also being able to remember that it's okay not to be okay. Seek help. Don't feel so stuck alone. Talk about it. Talk therapy is very good for women. When you talk to a friend, you find that you actually had the answers all this time, and you're able to release your sadness, your venting. So always have friends that serve those purposes. Don't just be only to yourself. And sometimes also realize that every friend has a purpose in your life. Their friends I'll call when I have an idea, and I'll share with them, and they will encourage me. There are friends that I know, this one I cannot call because she has all this bad energy, but she also is good at something else. So
Yeah.
being able to identify what purpose and role your friends play in your life is very key for women. Not everyone you will share with your ideas. Not everyone you share with your excitement. I know that, for example, as I become better and better at what I'm doing, there are so many women who have run away from me because they can no longer fit in that circle of my achievements. And even because prior they're at a different stage, because we are all at different stages. Some people will be, ahead of you, others will be down. They're still, their phase is not yet there. The winning phase is not yet there. But then you go to them and say, oh, I was in France the other day. I was in, Germany the other day giving a launch, and maybe her life is going wrong and something is not right at that time. Trust me, she's not going to be, she will not be very amused. And sometimes they will drop off. So you have to, as a woman, you have to be very strategic and know which friend do you call when you're excited, when you're winning, which friend you call when you're sad and happy, and I mean sad and depressed. Which friend will you call about ideas? Which friend will you call about your family? That's what happens with women's relationship. And I think once you have that very sorted, then it becomes easier to manage. So I just want to wish every woman success. There is nothing we can't do on this earth when we set our minds to it. We have all the potential to succeed, because God gave us the skill to multitask and to handle so many things at the same time. So we can change the world, we can change ourselves and be great at what we love to do best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mariam. Very
Thank
inspiring
you.
to speak to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your messaging and also your practical tips.
Yes.
I wish you a very good rest of the day and the weekend when
Yes.
you come to it. And I
Yes.
just want to say to our listeners that
Yes.
mentoring is a very important part of everything that you do. And
Yes.
we have, Mariam has told us some very interesting ways in which you can use your friends. And we have opportunities for you to get mentors and to be mentors in all those
Yes.
multiple cities you see, going down on that screen in Zurich and Basel and Lausanne and Tel Aviv and London and wherever. So we hope that you take the plunge and, become a mentor or mentee with Thrive. Thank you so much, Miriam, for your energy and for sharing your story and for being so unstoppable. I wish you all the very best. I definitely am
Thank you.
looking forward to your second book.
Thank you, Shivanji. Thank you so much. Absolutely a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for listening.